Hi everyone, it's Sperlich here from Sperlich.com, and I'm really excited about being here with you and making that little vlog because it's actually the first vlog I'm doing after having my baby, and I'm just so excited to be out here again and sharing my message. So what I want to share with you today is how I manage my binge trigger foods. And those foods or certain foods are really important in, to recognize them in order to actually ditch your binge eating or emotional eating and to step into food freedom. Okay, and if you hear those little glucking noises in the background, it's my little baby girl who's trying to get to sleep. So yeah, don't be put off by that. Actually, it's really cute. Anyway, so I've done a little survey in my Facebook support group, Imprints on the Heart, and I've asked the ladies in there, what are your big binge trigger foods? And two main categories came up. So it's the sweet section, the chocolate, the cakes, cake frosting, the peanut butter, jelly, whatever. And then it's the carb section, and obviously carbs, turn into sugar as well and all that kind of stuff. But it's the, the pizza, it's the, the bread, it's the bread and cheese combo. And I found that really interesting because for me, it was the same. And when I was working in treatment centers, in addiction treatment centers, I kind of found that people who were addicted to heroin and, those kind of still, depressive drugs and opiates, tend to crave more those heavy, carby foods. And my theory is because it kind of gives you that velvety feeling, it smothers you, it's like that blanket, it's like, it fills you up from the inside, gives you that warm, loved feeling, which, very similar to those drugs. And people who tend to be more addicted to stimulants like cocaine and LSD and speed and all that stuff, tend to crave more those sugar foods, those kind of quick fixes, those getting those sugar highs, which again, is what the drugs do. And research has also shown that sugar acts very similar on the brain like cocaine, so it kind of really makes sense, right? So, using that knowledge and applying it to binge eating and emotional eating, it really makes sense to think about, what are those foods that you crave in that moment? What do you want them to do for you? And and there's also an element that, if you crave certain foods, you might also have like a deficiency of certain minerals or vitamins in your body. But, putting that to the side, I really want to focus just on the emotional aspect of it. So my, food addiction or recovery journey, or when I was right in the middle of the food, food became for me like a way of escaping my feelings, right? Of getting away from myself. I found it really hard to be with myself, and focusing on food made it really easy to step away from that. So the way through that, and I tried lots of different things, right? I went tried to do cold turkey, but I just found I was actually craving those foods even more. When I was in the 12-step fellowship for food, and was abstinent for like 3 years from sugar and and certain other foods, it worked. I didn't binge, but I really became obsessed with the whole what to eat and what not to eat. And if I'm sticking to my food plan, or if I'm falling off it, if I'm being the good girl or the bad girl. So it really triggered the whole black and white thinking. And I was focusing more on being really mindful of what ingredients are in my food and what I can eat, what I can't eat, and it impacted my social life. And actually I really cut off a part of myself that was important to me because I love food. I love making food and cooking and baking and enjoying it and being with friends and digging in. And I for me, food freedom was to not think about what I'm eating or what I'm not eating, to not feel scared of am I sticking to my food plan or if I'm not sticking to my food plan. If I eat certain foods, if I don't eat certain foods. For me, it was about that freedom of being able to eat what I want, when I want, and how much I want of it. And in order to get there, and I love the 12-step, I totally love it, and it did wonders for me, right? So please don't hear me wrong. But for me, it wasn't my food freedom way, okay? So things work different for other people, right? And I think everyone has to find their own way of what's working for them. So this is, I'm just sharing what worked for me. And, it may be something that, you may take some things and leave the rest. Okay. So what I did was to, become really curious around, okay, so what is going on for me that I want to turn to certain foods. Okay, so the number one thing that I did was becoming actually, getting curious around myself and being brave enough. And it takes freaking courage, right, to step into a relationship with yourself and getting to know yourself. So to get curious around how am I actually feeling when those cravings come up, and when I notice that I really want to have that big freaking pizza with extra cheese on it, right? And so get to know your feelings, get to know what's going on for me internally, and then ask myself, what is it that I want this food to do for me? Okay, so what do I want to be different? How do I want to feel? What am I hoping to get from eating that big freaking pizza, or that gallon of ice cream, or whatever? What do I hope to be different? And this is really, really powerful. I found that really powerful, to actually ask the food, okay, so what do you want, what do I want you to do for me that I feel like I can't do myself, or that I can't experience right now? And, once I kind of got into that, I'm really, really quick at spotting that right now. Okay, so it takes a lot of practice, and it's a journey, right? But once you kind of, start on it and actually ask yourself, okay, so what do I want to be different? What do I want this food to do for me right now? What do I want to get away from? You're actually enabling yourself to meet your own needs in a healthy way, right? You are empowering yourself to actually take care of yourself, to not rely on external things like food to make you feel better or to make you feel a certain way, right? No one or nothing can make you feel a certain way. It's only you, and you are responsible for it. You've got a responsibility to take care of yourself. You've got a responsibility to be accountable for how you're feeling. Not food, not other people or whatever. It is you, okay? So, maybe you start having a diary. Like I started to write about it, having a food freedom diary, where I wrote down, how I was doing, how I was feeling, what triggered me, what foods do I want to eat in certain situations, or when I have certain feelings, right? So, becoming curious around that will also give you a lot of information. Okay, so these are kind of, the questions that are really, really guided me to move my mindset away from what I can't eat and what I shouldn't be eating, towards what I do want to eat. Okay, and how I want to use food, and what I do want to do for myself. And our brains are actually wired to go always for the easy option, and constantly saying no to food, and no to kind of going out for dinner with your friends, and I can't eat this, or I can't have that. It's just really, really exhausting. And no wonder we get to a point where we go like, F this shit, I'm just gonna go for it, and tomorrow will be a new day, and I won't be eating all this kind of crap again. So, instead of focusing on what you can't do and what you shouldn't have, focus on what you do want to eat, and how you do want to treat yourself and nurture yourself through food, right? Food is so essential, not just because it's fuel, but also it's fuel for the soul and for your body, right? So make sure you eat good foods, and if you binge, binge on good foods and enjoy it, and then celebrate it, and make it look nice for you, and be conscious around what you're putting into your mouth. Okay, so I hope this is helpful for you. So just to recap, my kind of 3 things for you to take away is to actually get curious around how you're feeling, when those cravings come up, which foods you're actually craving, and how come you're craving those specific foods, and what do you want that food to do for you, right? So, ask the food, what do I want you to do for me? What do I want to be different? How do I want to feel differently? Okay. And 4 things, how can I give that to myself? How can I take back responsibility and power, to actually care for my own needs? And, there's nothing more empowering than actually to be able to stand on your own 2 feet and, be accountable and responsible for yourself, and managing and, taking care of yourself. Okay. And, the underlying essence of all this is actually this, right? You need to get to know yourself and love yourself in the middle of your shit. This is so important, right? This is what we're trying to get away from. When we're in our shit, or when we feel shit, we want to try to get away from that. But this is especially in there where the blossom is, and where the gold nuggets are. Okay, if you get this, you'll be fine, right? And if you need any support with this, come and join my Facebook group, Imprints on the Heart. I'll post the link in the bottom of this blog. And if this is useful for you, leave a comment, let me know you know, what exactly it is that you're taking away from this video, or if you've got any other tips on how you manage your binge triggers, share it with us, share it with the world. And if you know anyone who could use with that video or who could benefit from it, go and share it, you know, share it on your social media and help me spread the message. Thank you very much, and I'd love to see you in the group, and have a lovely day. Speak to you soon. Bye.